A distress signal pings from a remote Antarctic outpost. No response, no warning, just silence. The crew stationed there, gone, vanished without a trace. Rescue teams were dispatched. When they arrived, everything was intact, untouched. Computers are still running, meals half-eaten, jackets hanging neatly by the door, as if the scientists had just stepped out for a moment. Except they never came back. No signs of struggle, no footprints in the snow leading away. Just an empty base and a single chilling anomaly. The reinforced steel doors to the underground lab, once sealed shut, were now wide open. And inside, only a deep, wide hole descending into pure darkness. Now, here's the part where it gets even weirder. Weeks later, the scientists reappeared and requested immediate evacuation. The mission logs, classified. Every government involved, silent. No public records of the crew. It was as if they had never existed. And yet, this wasn't the first time something like this had happened in Antarctica. A no-fly zone, secret research facilities, satellite images showing massive structures buried beneath 2 miles of ice, all classified. For decades, whispers of hidden civilizations, forbidden knowledge, and something far more disturbing have surrounded Antarctica. But this was different. What did they find under the ice? And more importantly, why are the world's most powerful military forces making sure you never find out? To understand the truth about Antarctica, you need to go back, way back, to a time when this frozen wasteland wasn't so frozen. A time when the continent held secrets that could rewrite human history. Let's start from the beginning. Millions of years ago, Antarctica wasn't a frozen wasteland. It was a lush, thriving landmass filled with dense forests, flowing rivers, and an ecosystem that rivaled the Amazon. Fossil evidence suggests something was alive here. A civilization, perhaps? But then, almost overnight, everything changed. A sudden freeze, and whatever lived here, buried, forgotten.
The most important issue to me is the issue of a global cataclysm at the end of the Ice Age. What caused that cataclysm is a secondary issue. The cataclysm itself is the primary issue. And I found the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis a better, much more scientifically grounded explanation for that cataclysm than the notion of Earth crust displacement.
Fast forward to the 1500s. The Piri Reis map, a historical anomaly, depicted Antarctica's coastline with shocking accuracy, centuries before the continent was officially discovered. How did a map from the Ottoman Empire detail a landmass that was supposedly covered in ice for millions of years? Coincidence? Hardly. Someone must have known something.
One of the things I find most striking is the presence of Antarctica on ancient maps, because we didn't discover it until 1820. And yet it's on maps drawn in the 1500s with great detail, which again were based on much older source maps that have now been lost to us.
Then World War II happened. And suddenly Antarctica wasn't just a frozen wasteland anymore. The Nazis were obsessed with it, establishing a secret base called Neuschwabenland. What were they looking for? Ancient technology? A lost civilization? They sent expeditions, built underground bunkers, and according to declassified documents, they were onto something.
Are you familiar with the bell?
The Nazi bell, the Die Glock?
Yes.
Yeah. The Die Glock is an amazing device that was being developed by the Nazis during World War II. This Die Glock, again, technology that they learned about through an advanced civilization that they were in communication with through the Thule Society. They were using psychics to channel information from an advanced alien race. And they were taking this knowledge and then turning it into actual real workable technology. And so they had this thing in Germany called the henge, where they had these gigantic stone pillars in the shape of a henge, and they had the Die Glock in the middle. It looked like an acorn, a UFO type, but an acorn-shaped UFO. And it had these multi-counterclockwise spinning pieces on it. The ultimate purpose of it seems to have been some type of time travel. And this thing at one point, based on eyewitness accounts, it's turned on and activated, and it disappeared from the henge.
By 1946, the U.S. government took notice. Operation Highjump, the largest military operation ever conducted in Antarctica. over 4,700 troops, aircraft carriers, destroyers, and submarines were sent to the icy continent. Officially, it was for scientific research, but unofficially, some say they weren't just exploring Antarctica, they were fighting something. Then, just like that, the mission was cut short. Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the mission leader, returned with a mysterious warning. We must prepare for the possibility of hostile aircraft that can fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. What exactly did he see? Whatever happened out there spooked the military so much that they classified everything. Suddenly, Antarctica was locked down. No independent exploration, no unauthorized flights. And every major world power set up bases there, all under the guise of scientific research. But let's be honest, when has humanity ever resisted the urge to mine, drill, or exploit an untouched land? So why is Antarctica the exception? Could it be because what's buried beneath the ice isn't just valuable, it's dangerous? Over the decades, satellite images have revealed massive structures, pyramids, underground chambers, and something resembling a runway. U.S. Navy SEALs have come forward with testimonies about missions that never made it to the public. Missions where they found 9-acre underground chambers with self-illuminating walls, etched with symbols that don't match any known civilization. And then there's the submarine entry, where a Navy team surfaced inside what looked like an ancient metallic structure, perfectly preserved. No wires, no energy source, but maintaining a steady temperature of 72 degrees Fahrenheit, buried under 2 miles of ice. How is that possible? Unless it was never abandoned. The question isn't just what they found under Antarctica. It's who's still there. Then came the leaks. Former military personnel, scientists, engineers, people who had seen too much and decided to talk. One scientist described structures buried under Antarctica that looked identical to ruins on Mars. A former Navy SEAL detailed how his team was deployed to secure something, only to be told their mission never happened. Others spoke of military bases where the real work happened. Work that involved technology light years ahead of anything you publicly know. If even one of these people were telling the truth, Antarctica wasn't just hiding history. It could be hiding something alive.
They are clearly protecting or preserving something that may or may not be under, I believe it's 3 miles or at its thickest of ice.
Over the decades, teams have gone missing. Scientists, engineers, entire expeditions. Official records? Classified. In some cases, the teams returned, but they weren't the same. Some refused to talk. Some had no memory of what had happened, and some were never seen again. How does an entire research station just disappear? And why does nobody talk about it? The silver discs over Antarctica. What were they watching? Silver, disc-shaped craft moving at impossible speeds. U.S. military tracking objects that weren't supposed to exist. Admiral Byrd warning about enemy aircraft that could travel pole to pole in seconds. And yet, not a single country has ever acknowledged their existence. So what will happen when they can no longer keep the story buried? It was never about what they found. It was about what they were afraid of. For decades, governments, military forces, and secret research programs have been operating in Antarctica under the cover of scientific exploration. But the deeper you dig, the clearer it becomes. Antarctica isn't just some icy wasteland. It's something far more terrifying, something they can't control. At first, the theories sounded ridiculous. An ancient civilization buried under 2 miles of ice?
That is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Some advanced lost city? Still active? Then came the testimonies. Whistleblowers, military personnel, even scientists who risked everything to tell their stories. And they all pointed to one terrifying possibility. It looks like Antarctica was never abandoned. The chambers beneath the ice were not just ruins. They were functional, still powered, still responding. The glowing walls were not just decorative, they were part of a system, some kind of ancient technology beyond our understanding. The symbols found beneath the ice? They matched markings found on Mars and the Moon. If true, this meant only one thing. Whatever built these structures wasn't just here on Earth. And then came the most disturbing revelation. Did the master architects never leave? By the 1970s, there were rumors, whispers from deep within classified circles, that governments weren't just hiding evidence of an ancient civilization, they were working with it. The claim was that since at least the Cold War, there had been trade agreements between world governments and an unknown intelligence, advanced technology in exchange for secrecy, scientific knowledge traded for control. Whistleblowers believe a deal was made, not to protect you, but to keep you from asking too many questions. Some military insiders believe that Antarctica isn't just a secret because of what was found, it's because of who was found. In 2016, astronaut Buzz Aldrin was medically evacuated from Antarctica. He was reportedly in good health before the trip. Then suddenly, an emergency extraction. Before leaving, he allegedly sent a message, one that was quickly deleted. The tweet said, "We have seen the face of evil." The official story was covered up, and what came out to the public was he had altitude sickness. But if that's true, why did his Twitter post disappear? Why was the story immediately covered up? And more importantly, what did he see? Why every superpower on Earth is in Antarctica, but you're not allowed? We live in a world where countries fight over everything: oil, land, technology, even water rights. Yet somehow the entire world has agreed not to touch Antarctica. No drilling, no mining, no commercial activity, nothing. When has humanity ever respected a land like that?
Never. Never. Never ever.
So why does Antarctica get special treatment? Whatever is there is bigger than any government, any military, any human civilization. They're not protecting Antarctica from you. They're protecting you from Antarctica, a secret that could rewrite human history. And one thing is clear, Antarctica isn't just hiding the past, it's hiding the future. So, here's where we're at. Antarctica is supposedly just a vast, frozen landscape, a place of nothing but ice, wind, and a few scientific research stations. That's the official story. And yet, every major world power has a presence there. There are entire regions you're not allowed to go near, and attempts to independently explore beyond approved zones have been met with swift intervention, sometimes by unidentified military forces. Which brings you to the real question. If there's nothing to hide, why all the secrecy? Governments don't just keep things secret for no reason. When something is truly insignificant, they ignore it. Think about it. When was the last time the US government classified information about the Sahara Desert or the Amazon rainforest? They don't, because those places, while valuable, don't threaten the global balance of power. But Antarctica? The Antarctic Treaty is one of the most strictly enforced international agreements in history. No one can mine, no one can drill, no one can own it, and no single country controls it. Yet every major power has a stake. If there's truly nothing worth keeping secret under all that ice, why are the rules so different? What makes Antarctica so important that governments worldwide are willing to cooperate, something they rarely do, just to keep it off limits? If it's just ice, why does the world's most advanced technology, spy satellites, military aircraft, deep-sea submersibles constantly monitor parts of it? And let's not forget the bizarre, high-profile visits. US officials, Russian diplomats, even astronauts have traveled to Antarctica for inspection trips. In 2016, Secretary of State John Kerry made an unexplained visit there during the US presidential election, no less. Buzz Aldrin, one of the most famous astronauts in history, visited and had to be medically evacuated. It raises a very simple question. What was so urgent, so important, that it required personal visits from top-level officials? And why does the public get no answers about what they were actually doing there? Is this the greatest cover-up of our time? When governments classify information, it's never because they want to protect the public's curiosity. It's because whatever they're hiding might threaten national security, might disrupt global economic or political stability, could expose something the public isn't supposed to know. Let's assume for a moment that Antarctica really is just a frozen wasteland. Then why are people with security clearances required to sign NDAs before being deployed there? Why do you have first-hand accounts from researchers saying that entire teams have disappeared, only to return with no recollection of their time there? Why do military whistleblowers claim that operations in Antarctica are more classified than most nuclear programs, even if you dismiss every conspiracy theory? If you strip away the talk of lost civilizations, extraterrestrial involvement, and underground bases, the secrecy alone tells you one thing: something is happening in Antarctica that the world isn't allowed to know about. And if it was something harmless, just ice, just research, just penguins, there wouldn't be a need for this level of secrecy. Secrets don't stay buried forever, especially not in a place where the ice is melting. Whatever they're hiding in Antarctica, one day, the truth will surface. The question is, will we be ready for it? And if you think this is unsettling, wait until you hear about the science of controlling the human mind. What we've uncovered is shocking. That's coming up in our next video, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications on.